With the release of the ninth episode of HBO's The Last of Us, showrunners Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann have unveiled to the world the final chapter of the recently rebranded Part 1 of Naughty Dog's beloved IP. Not only does it bring the show's first season to an end, but it shocks viewers with the implications brought forth by the choices that our beloved characters make as they cross this arc's finish line. In this video, we'll explore why this ending is so shocking, controversial, and brilliant, but also how it ties into the show's main themes about love and its most beautiful, extreme, and dark expressions of it. First, a quick recap of the ninth and final episode and the ending in question. Warning, major spoilers ahead. Joel and Ellie arrive at Salt Lake City, the location where all tracks led to on the maps shown in the University of Eastern Colorado in episode 6. As they wander through the literal urban jungle of Utah's capital, they are jumped by the very fireflies they were looking for. After waking up on a hospital bed, Joel is met by Marlene, and the truth behind of a possible cure is revealed. The only way that an attempt at a cure can even be viable is by extracting the cordyceps that have grown within Ellie's brain since birth. In short, for the world to have a chance at a vaccine, Ellie would have to sacrifice herself. As Joel is escorted out and Ellie's being prepped for surgery, Joel is able to overthrow his two captors and then proceeds to violently take down every single Firefly soldier in a no-mercy John Wick focus-like quest to save Ellie from that surgery. When he reaches the operating room where the surgery is about to take place, Joel kills the doctor that's about to operate on Ellie. Now with Ellie in his arms, he makes his way out of the hospital and back to Jackson, but not without Marlene making a last plea for the world. Joel kills and unarms Marlene in order to prevent other Fireflies from chasing Ellie in the future. Joel lies to Ellie and tells her that the Fireflies had given up on looking for a vaccine. He continues to say that the Fireflies have been running tests on dozens of kids that now included her, but with no results. He also states that the reason they left in a hurry is because raiders attacked and hurt a bunch of people there, including Marlene. He claims that they barely made it out alive themselves. As they arrive to Jackson, Ellie confronts Joel about whether or not everything he said about the Fireflies was true. He swears to it with almost no hesitation, and though still troubled and somewhat convinced that all he has said is a lie, Ellie takes a deep breath and simply says, "Okay." Take 1. Love is at the center. It is love that pushes Anna through a forest in search for refuge while in labor to save herself and baby Ellie from an infected. It is love that stops herself from feeding her child to ensure she does not get infected. It is love that pushes Marlene to heed Anna's final request for Ellie and herself. It is love for what's right, a better life for everyone, and love for all those that she's lost that pushes Marlene to make the choice to sacrifice Ellie for a chance at a cure. It is love that drives Joel to violently kill every single person that stood in his way as he ran to save Ellie. And it is Ellie's love for Joel that enables her to say okay, as she tries to accept what Joel has said, even though deep down she knows it's a lie. From the very beginning, Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann have made it their mission to let us, the viewers, know that the story of Part 1 of The Last of Us explores the two extremes of love. The most beautiful things that love is capable of, and the most horrifying things that love is capable of. And while the world can attest that we saw some of the most precious displays of love in episode 3, as we all stood in awe and cried while watching Bale and Frank's story unfold, we had only seen glimpses of love's darker side through the story of Kathleen in Kansas City. But it wasn't as visceral as Joel's actions in episode 9. You could say that seeing Kathleen kill the doctor and give the orders to kill all the collaborators and burn the bodies was similar, but the fact that we don't see her commit these acts creates a sort of disconnect that allows us, the viewer, perceive her simply as an antagonistic figure that pushes our leads to react to her every action. In the case of Joel, it's different. He is one of the leads, and because of that, he is part of the core of the story. We mourned the death of Sarah with him. We joined in his despair as Tess sacrificed herself for him and Ellie. Our hearts broke as he opened up to Tommy about his fears of failing Ellie or someone else he cares about again. And we all feared for his life as Ellie desperately and anxiously tried to nurse him back to health after he got stabbed at the end of episode 6. In our minds, Joel is the hero. He is the one that needs to win by the end of the season, but it becomes troubling to cheer him on as we see him enact a violent tsunami of bullets towards all the soldiers he encountered. He killed them all, mercilessly, and he did it all for love. The fact that love, Joel's ferocious and selfish love, was behind every pull of the trigger, every reload, and every step he climbed forces us to question whether or not we were rooting for the right guy. But more importantly, it begs us to stop and wonder what darkness exists in us that we chose to follow him to the end. If we approve of his actions, what does that say about us? Is Ellie worth more than the entire world? Rational love and reason, embodied by Marlene, says no, but Joel's heart, which lied dormant for years, drowned by loss and sorrow, says yes. As Bill expresses to Frank in episode 3, right after they drink their last cup of wine together,
I'm old. I'm satisfied. And you were my purpose.
Bill was ready to move on with Frank to the next life because he chose to love Frank in the way that Frank wanted to be loved. Which is why I keep going back to Bill as the premium example of the beautiful and selfless side of love. Joel, on the other hand, by the time we get to episode 9, we know that he has lost his world not once but twice, but not because of the outbreak. We have learned in more ways than one that if anyone can survive and thrive after the world's end, it's Joel Miller. His world ended the first time when Sarah died. He was lost, but was able to find a new normal, though dark and questionable, with Tess. But then she gave herself up for him and Ellie. And with Tess's sacrifice, his whole world came crashing down once again. As Bill wrote on his suicide note to whoever, but probably Joel,
there was one person worth saving. That's what I did. I saved him. Then I protected him. That's why men like you and me are here. We have a job to do. I leave you all of my weapons and equipment. Use them to keep...
Throughout the series, we have seen the guilt that Joel has carried as he's had all these close calls with Ellie and as he continues to fail to protect those that he cares about over and over again. It is this brokenness and fear of consistently failing to protect those he loves that pushes Joel to the other extreme of love, the dark extreme. It didn't matter whether or not sacrificing herself, like Tess did, was what Ellie wanted to do for the world. He could not stand to lose anyone else. Not again. So he chose to say no to loss, to be selfish, to love Ellie. Not how she wanted to be loved, but the way he needed to love her. And this dangerous, violent love left a trail of death and hopelessness in a world that lives in fear of nature's fungal wrath. Ellie accepts the lie because she needs to love Joel, the only person that has loved her as much as Riley. Because if she doesn't go along with the lie, her biggest fear may very well come true. She could end up all alone, as she shared with Sam in episode 5. What's most troubling about these truths and the choices that these characters make is how grounded they are in reality. And by making us fall in love with these characters, their story, and their journey, the writers force the viewers to evaluate these truths about themselves and come face to face with what us, humans, are really capable of when attempting to express one of the most basic of human emotions: love. Take 2. The power of agency and choice. Another reason why the ending of The Last of Us Season 1 is so tragic is because it ends with one of our 2 leads betraying the other in a show of self-serving paternal love. What Maria warned Ellie about sadly comes to pass. Ellie is betrayed by the one person that she had chosen to trust with her life. Sacrificing herself for a cure would have given the world a chance in the war against the cordyceps. And even though it wouldn't have been a future that she would have witnessed, she would have felt that she contributed that she was able to do something to save those that she's cared about. It would have been better to try than to not try at all. It would have been her choice to do so. Both Marlene and Joel stole that choice. Joel knew that Ellie wanted to give herself to the Fireflies, that all they've been through, all the things that they have done, all the things that she had done, as she says in the first half of episode 9, could not have been for nothing. Now she will never know the truth because Joel stole that from her, because he couldn't lose someone else again, not if he had the power to stop it. Joel swears with ease because he fulfilled his purpose. He brought Ellie back to Jackson safely. But now Ellie's purpose is forever shrouded in doubt because of the person she chose to love and trust. Both Marlene and Joel stole Ellie's power of choice, stole her agency. They both did what was best for them. Though one rational and the other emotional, they both have scarred Ellie in a way that has made all the pain, all the suffering, and all the loss that this journey has brought to her life somewhat meaningless. Joel is acting happy and as excited as a super dad can be, but you can tell in Pedro Pascal's phenomenal and nuanced performance that the guilt of his choice is eating at him. But he has convinced himself that he can bear the guilt if she is alive. But can Ellie bear the guilt of all she has been through and survived? She is choosing to believe Joel, but how long can she live choosing to believe that lie, and how will it shape her moving forward? Those that have played part 2 know how this lie plays a huge role in the evolution of Joel and Ellie's relationship. But I can't wait to see how the showrunners, Craig and Neil, find ways to make it even more meaningful and fleshed out as Season 2 begins to unravel the phenomenal and controversial art piece that is The Last of Us Part 2. What are your thoughts on the ending of HBO's The Last of Us Season 1? Were you troubled by Joel's actions? Challenged by the lie he told Ellie? Or even so, by Ellie's reaction of it? Let us know what you think in the comment sections below, where the show is going from here. And if you've played The Last of Us Part 2 already, don't spoil. Be nice. I'm Brandon Alvarado from The Shatter After. Stay awesome and keep the shatter alive. Peace.